Got more cool than any 10 actors I've ever seen. Yes. Speaking of cool, a recent interview with Variety at the age of 95, Clint Eastwood shook Hollywood when he candidly revealed 7 actresses who once made him want to be with them. He did not shy away, even adding a hint of boastfulness as if he were unveiling secrets kept hidden for half a century. That list included powerful stars, yet with unusual stories. One insisted she was Clint's wife from a past life in ancient Egypt. Another openly flirted with him at the Dirty Harry premiere, causing his wife, Maggie Johnson, to storm out in anger. Some even became so obsessed that they lingered outside his house, trying every trick just to be close to him, forcing Eastwood to secretly change the locks. In the end, who were those 7 names? And among them, who was the one Clint Eastwood considered his greatest regret in life? One, Meyer Street, caught with Clint all night at a small bar in Winterette. Among the 7 women Clint Eastwood once admitted made him lose his self-control. Meyer Street was perhaps the most talked about in Hollywood. In the mid-1990s, she was regarded as the beacon of acting in America. 2 Oscars, numerous nominations, multi-million-dollar paychecks per film, and the title of the most powerful actress in Hollywood, as Time once called her. Beyond her talent, Mariel possessed a unique beauty, a refined face with deep story-filled eyes, a slim yet elegant figure, and an aura so commanding that any place she appeared became the center of attention. Journalist Liz Smith of the New York Post once wrote, "My Streep isn't the fiery kind of beauty. She is beautiful in the way of soft power, quiet yet irresistibly compelling." In June 1994, the crew of the Bridges of Madison County arrived in the small town of Winterette, Iowa. Locals who were used to quiet streets suddenly saw Clint Eastwood and his team with cameras and lights everywhere. But what they remembered most was not the set itself, but the off-screen connection between Clint and Meryl. The two were incredibly in sync during filming. Scenes of embraces and kisses that should have taken just one shot had to be repeated, because the way they looked at each other felt too real. Photographer Mark Wilson, who documented the shoot later, said on NBC, "I've seen many couples perform romantic scenes, but the way Clint looked at Mariel was different. It wasn't the look of an actor. It was the look of a man with desire." By late July 1994, locals were buzzing when Clint and Mariel were spotted at a small bar called Picket Fence. Usually quiet that night, the place was filled with whispers. The two sat together in the corner for hours, talking intimately. A waiter later told People magazine Meryl kept touching his arm and Clint was smiling the kind of smile the locals had never seen from him before. They left past midnight and the image of Clint's hand gently placed on Mariel's back as they walked out became the talk of the whole town. The rumors were especially shocking given their personal lives at the time. Clint had just finalized a messy divorce with Maggie Johnson and ended a bitter relationship with Sandra Locke, who had even sued him for sabotaging her career. He was single, but scandals surrounded him. Meanwhile, Mariel appeared to be in a stable marriage with sculptor Don Gummer, with whom she had 4 children. Yet, according to the Los Angeles Times in 1994, Mariel and Don had lived apart for several months. Her relatives said Mariel was torn between her role as a mother and her real emotions on set. The press quickly caught on. An Associated Press journalist wrote on Augustenstein, 94, "There are certain looks that cannot be directed between Clint and Meryl." The line between art and reality nearly vanished. Some even speculated that Don Gummer was so upset he refused to attend the film's Los Angeles premiere. Few know that Mariel herself once hinted at Clint in an interview with Entertainment Weekly. Asked about her experience working with him, she simply laughed and said, "He has a way of looking at you that makes you feel like the only woman in the room." I suppose that's why Hollywood has been obsessed with Clint for decades. Though brief in the context of swirling rumors, it felt like a subtle confirmation. To this day, the winter set night is still considered one of Hollywood's most intriguing mysteries. It showed just how deeply Clint Eastwood was drawn to a woman as talented and powerful as Meryl Streep. And after this story, another name appeared on the list. An even greater legend, Sophia Loren, the Italian beauty, whose smile once captivated the entire world. 2. Sophia Loren. the secret meeting in Rome that stirred Hollywood. When people think of Sophia Loren, they think of Italy's eternal symbol of beauty. She wasn't just an Oscar winner for Two Women, 1961, a rare European star who conquered Hollywood, but also a woman whose presence made the world stand still. With her feline eyes, slim waist, and curvaceous figure, Life magazine once called her the embodiment of 20th century femininity. By the early 1970s, she was an international superstar, earning millions annually, living in a lavish villa in Rome and the face of fashion houses like Valentino and Dior. But Loren's life was never without drama. Before marrying producer Carlo Ponti, she was caught in a love triangle with actor Cary Grant. On the set of Houseboat 1958, Cary, already a Hollywood legend, openly adored Loren, sending her dozens of love letters begging her to leave Carlo. One leaked letter even read, "If you just say yes, I'll give up everything." Yet Sophia chose Carlo, who was more powerful in the Italian film industry. That decision made Hollywood brand her as unfaithful, while European press portrayed her as a pawn between two giants. It was against this backdrop that Clint Eastwood arrived in Rome in 1973. At 43, he was at the peak of his fame after High Plains Drifter. Divorced since 1969, he was unattached but constantly linked with countless women. So much so that the Los Angeles Times once called him the man who never sleeps alone. With his cool cowboy aura, Clint instantly drew attention in Europe. That summer, producer Carlo Ponti hosted a grand party at Cinecittà Studios to celebrate Italian-Amian co-productions. The hall was full of stars and directors. When Sophia appeared in a crimson Valentino gown, the room fell silent for a few seconds. Photographer Paolo Bruno captured the moment Sophia glowing under the flashes, Clint standing at a distance, staring fixedly at her. The photo spread across Europe with the caption, "The only woman who silenced Hollywood's cowboy." What happened afterward fueled the gossip mill. Journalist Gianni Mina wrote in Corriere della Sera, "I saw Clint approach Sophia on the balcony. He whispered and she laughed. That was not a public smile, but the smile of a woman who knew her power." Some claimed that by dawn, Clint and Sophia had slipped away with a small group and disappeared. Days later, La Sampa reported that they were seen again at the Excelsior Hotel in Rome. An anonymous employee said they booked a high-floor suite with strict privacy. Though no proof emerged, their silence only fueled more speculation. The story became scandalous because Sophia was still legally married to Carlo Ponti while Clint was free, but notorious for his entanglements. Variety headlined its September 1973 issue. Sophia shakes America's cowboy, turning the affair into a transatlantic sensation. Sophia Loren remained silent for years. Only in 1990, during an interview on Italy's RAI, when asked about it, she smiled. Clint is a fascinating man. His eyes are hard for a woman to ignore. Just one vague sentence was enough to spark endless debates. The Rome Night of 1973 remains one of cinema's enduring mysteries. It united two legends from different worlds, showing that Clint Eastwood once lost his composure before a beauty whose mere smile could unbalance him. 3. Raquel Welch at the Dirty Harry premiere. Clint's wife stormed out. In December 1971, Mann's Chinese Theater in Los Angeles lit up for the premiere of Dirty Harry. It was Clint Eastwood's most important film, marking his transition from Western cowboy roles to a new image in crime thrillers. Clint attended with his wife, Maggie Johnson. They appeared as a glamorous couple, though their marriage had long been fractured. The hall was quiet as Clint took the stage for his speech, but moments later, the atmosphere shifted. The doors opened and Raquel Welch walked in wearing a sparkling white gown. The crowd erupted in applause, many leaving their seats just to see her better. At 31, Raquel was at the height of her fame thanks to 1 million years BC. Her image in a fur bikini had become a poster in millions of college dorms. With her radiant smile and striking figure, she was considered the ultimate screen siren of her era. Raquel walked straight toward the stage glass in hand, smiling at Clint. In front of hundreds, they clinked glasses, standing close under the spotlights. Clint froze, unable to hide his awe as she leaned near, At that exact moment, Maggie Johnson left her seat swiftly heading for the exit, leaving whispers and stares behind. What should have been Clint's proudest night turned into a public drama. Freelance photographer Jerry Harper captured a rare photo. Clint and Raquel standing close, gazing at each other while Maggie walked away in the background, visibly tense. The photo was later sold to a magazine and became one of the most iconic images of Clint's private life. Rumors didn't stop there. At the after-party, Clint was seen speaking privately with Raquel for nearly half an hour. They left the Beverly Hilton later than most guests, and a paparazzo snapped them exiting through a side door. Raquel was already surrounded by gossip linked to Elvis Presley and later to Steve McQueen known.